what we had to do was we had to decide, if we don't get this cylinder head off, the engine is toast. Hi folks, Karl Kjarsgaard with you at Bomber Command Museum of Canada out in Nanton, Alberta. And we wanted to tell you about all the stuff we've been doing. We got the mosquito guys over here busting their buns, rebuilding the mosquito. Bob's working on the Halifax propeller blades. And we want to tell you about our problem child. This is number 4 Bristol Hercules for the Halifax bomber. And when we first got it, she looked brand new, just like a wonderful date going to a high school grad. But then we found out she had stage 3 cancer called rust. And Bob and Mark and I and Hugh have been busting our buns on this problem child. And we may, I say we may, have a chance to rebuild her to running condition. You can see we've got the outer cylinders off, and guess what we found? Rust in every single of the 14 cylinders of this Hercules. There are 14 cylinders, of course, on a Bristol Hercules, and the outer cylinders have to be pulled off with special tools. And with the rust that's on each of these, there's rust on every single one. We've had to wrestle with each cylinder to get it off so we can rebuild it to run. And here's the problem is, we had to take off 2 layers of technology from this brand new engine to get to these cylinders. Base nuts off, because they're in so tight you can't get a wrench on them. You have to get, the nut is this thick, right?
Yep.
You can't just put it on the top lip of the nut.
Right.
This has to go down to the base of the nut.
Where all the meat is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you can torque that nut.
Okay, did that one crack enough, or do you want to get a little more?
Well, let me get a bite on it again. Every time I take this off, I have to go find it again.
Yeah.
Once you break the nut and get it loose, you can pull with your finger and get it off.
The other one's tight to the last thread, eh?
You never know. It's a lottery.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, here, look at this. This is all of the exhaust pipes and all of the fittings that we had to take off the Hercules to get down to the cylinders. All of these pipes, all of these parts have been numbered, and they will go back on in due time. But first we must wade through all of the cylinders and gather all the new parts to replace the old rusty parts. And I would say 90% of that top cylinders of the engine will have to be replaced. Okay, let's go over to the troublesome area, and this was a Bearcat, folks. You would not believe this. You see, this is number 3 cylinder, and we were putting 500 foot-pounds of pull on this cylinder to get the head off the end. And no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't get it off. It was really a Bearcat. And so what we had to do was we had to decide, if we don't get this cylinder head off, the engine is toast. You cannot rebuild an engine with a totally seized cylinder and head. And so what we did was, Mark and Bob and I, we decided that as this is the toughest one of all to get off the engine, these other ones were tough, but not as bad as this. This was the critical one. And we decided that we would dismember the head on top using metal cutting saws and cut it into chunks and extract. Here's what's left of number 3 head for that number 3 cylinder. See, we had to cut that off. The crown had to come off first and be cut. And then what was left down inside the cylinder, totally welded with rust, we had to spend 5 or 6 hours cutting through the head, the steel head, with electric metal cutting saws. And then when you make that split between the two, then the two halves come together, and then you can extract them out of the cylinder. Okay, so you have heard the doom and gloom of number 4 Hercules engine, but I need to give you hope. If you have hope, you have everything. And here are 4 serviceable, runnable sleeve valves for a Bristol Hercules. We've been saving these for a rainy day. And just to tell you, I just came back from England and I got 5 brand new sleeves found in a guy's garage in David in Gloucester, England, and he's donating 5 brand new sleeves. Okay, and now that we've told you about all the trials and tribulations of number 4 Hercules, Bob Jackins here is part of the Hercules team. You were one of the guys that was cutting that head off number 3 cylinder. So tell me, not exactly an easy job.
No, it's really hard to do because you can't really see down inside what it looks like, what you're trying to achieve. I've seen the bomber style head, which is totally different than the freighter style head, so you're kind of learning as you go. It was really tough.
Yeah, and you know what? We've never done that before, is actually bisect a head and extract it out of a Hercules cylinder. So we didn't know if it would work, but between Bob and Mark Meyer and me assisting, we were able to get that head out. So now we can continue with the rebuild of number 4.